Welcome back to the Do Hard Things Today podcast. We are on episode 78, and this is Monday Motivation. As you know, every Monday we're going to come to you and just bring you some quick hitters on how to optimize your life. And this week we are dealing with 5 ways to feel better today. Jed, you want to feel better, man?
Yeah, and I'm glad we're doing this one this week because I've started one. I've had 2 cheeseburgers in 2 weeks.
2 cheeseburgers and 2.
For a man to have 2 a day sometimes, that's a step in the right direction. Anyway.
So how is that working for you?
Feeling a little bit better, honestly. Honestly, the biggest part of it is having to make a conscious decision not to run by McDonald's and grab a cheeseburger. Means I have to think about what I am going to eat.
Yeah.
And leads to making a little bit better choices. Now, we went to the beach last week and stopped by Rush's in Columbia on the way back, and there's only so much a man can do. Yeah. But 2 in 2 weeks, when I'd have one for lunch and one for dinner some days, I think is a little bit better way of doing it.
Well, you know, it is, and that's what we've last week when we introduced the whole grade 8 of what are 2 things in all those areas: fitness, family, finances, and faith that you can do daily. And again, those things can change every day. You know, the idea is that we're being on purpose with what we're trying to do. That
right.
we're being intentional, and it's just like with hamburgers. That may seem like a small thing, but that's a big thing.
Right,
that's
having to think about it.
Yeah, you're thinking about it, and so we just wanted to bring you just 5 ways and 5 things that will make you feel better, because obviously with your fitness, which encapsulates your health. If that gets out of whack, like we've talked about before, it's like a car going down the road with a out of balance tire or a flat tire. It's just boom, 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 and it brings everything else down. So we're going to talk about these things. And the first one is one that is very, this one's hard. It's hard for me. I think it's hard for most people in the way we live our lives today. And that's just to get enough sleep. And that sounds simple. Okay, get enough sleep. Jed, how much sleep they tell us we need?
8 hours is what they say.
Got to have 8 hours. Well, research has shown that you don't necessarily have to have 8. It's that's different for different people. But the 8 is a good measuring stick to try to hit to. The problem, and we're going to talk about this in one of the other points, the problem is we don't ever let ourselves wind down either. And so it's right up until the time we go to sleep, we're looking at social media, we're looking at screens, we're wound up, and then we go to sleep and it's hard to get really good sleep. But to feel better and to truly be able to optimize your day, you've got to get enough sleep. Create the environment, do what you need to do. You know, the blue light is bad for you at night. So how do we create a better environment? There's actually research out there that you sleep better in a cooler environment. Now, some of you they're gonna hate that.
I'm okay with that,
but I love it. I love it cold too,
yeah.
and I sleep better that way. But do whatever you've got to do to figure out how you're going to get enough sleep, and that you have to plan that out. So as you're going to the end of your day, you're able to wind things down and get yourself in a place where you can sleep. Number 2, and this one's, man, everybody knows this, and this is so hard. Harder for some than others, but cut out simple sugars and processed foods.
Yep.
Processed foods, if you got the old saying is if it's got a long ingredient list, it's bad for you. Man, you know, cutting these things out, especially, we've talked about it before, probably the worst thing about the worst thing you can put in your body is a Coke, sweet tea, because you're just drinking straight up sugar. And so those simple sugars, candies, those kind of things, again, they've got their place for, you know, you don't want to say I'm never going to have those again, because that just leads to disaster. But you know, cutting those things out for the most part in your diet is gonna put you in a place where you're gonna feel better. You're not gonna be tired. The problem with sugars is you have to chase it. That blood sugar spikes, then you crash, then you got to get more. It's like a drug. It's just up and down. So it's like you're on a roller coaster. The third one, and this one's hard for me. This is the hardest one for me out of these 5 points, and that's to set a caffeine curfew.
Yeah, that was tough.
It's every time you see me, I got a water in one hand, and generally I'll have a black coffee in the other.
Right. And
when I do that, it's when I get later in the day, man, when I get up like 2, sometimes I'm drinking those things, or I was up until 3 o'clock. It goes back to number one. I just can't get enough sleep because I can't go to sleep. And I was doing some research. Caffeine has a half-life of 8 years. What's a half-life, you may say? Now I'm going to put on my scientist hat, which I don't have in my repertoire, but I can listen to smart people and repeat what they said. Half-life means if you take in 200 milligrams of caffeine at 12 o'clock, 100 milligrams of that still in your system at 8 o'clock.
Oh, gosh.
So it's and there's things that go on inside your brain that help that prevents you from being able to wind down and to go to sleep. So set that curfew. I have set mine at lunchtime, and that way I'm not going on up into 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I'm having a hard time winding down. So set that curfew. The next one, again, a lot of these things are things that are that they prevent number one from being able to happen. And that's turn off the screens at night. Man,
I've slept with a TV on in my room since I was probably 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
So this one is going to be tough for me.
I think we all do that. Yeah. We get in the habit of just kind of letting that lull us to sleep. Mm-hmm. And even worse than the TV is our phones. The screens are the something about the blue light and the way it interacts with it, and our mind is kind of racing and trying to. But it is study after study has shown that screens at night are bad for you. They don't let you wind down to be able to have that good night's sleep. And a lot of these points are all pointing to sleep, of how are you able to rest your body so it can recover, repair itself, all the things that we need it to do, and to feel better, because we all start feeling sluggish. Start feeling sluggish in the middle of the day. You didn't get enough sleep. Well, then you're going to drink some more coffee, and then you see how it starts, and then this vicious cycle continues to happen. And the final one is get your heart rate up for at least 30 minutes. You don't have to be out running sprints or doing CrossFit, those things are all good, but just getting your heart rate up, even if it's, I'm going to take a brisk walk for 30 minutes. If that's something you're struggling with right now, and just lack of energy and those kind of things, just set a goal to get your heart rate up for at least 30 minutes per day. Really good for a lot of things, whole lot of things in your life. But these 5 things, again, we're going to bring these to you every Monday. But number 1, get enough sleep. Number 2, cut out simple sugars and processed foods. Number 3, set a caffeine curfew. Number 4, turn off the screens at night. And number 5, get your heart rate up for at least 30 minutes. These are going to help you with that wheel on the car that we talk about, those 4S: fitness, finances, family, and faith. The fitness area will help you in all these other areas as well. So remember, as you're doing these things every single day, you have the opportunity to make the good decisions, just like Jed was talking about of cutting those cheeseburgers now. Well, it feels better.
Right.
And we have someone else that we work with, and man, he's down 40-something pounds, and he says he's just making good decisions every day and takes control of that day. And don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about a week from now or a month from now. Like we end every podcast, listen to these words. Do the hard things today. Tomorrow will take care of itself.